Ready? On three. One, two, three.
I'm
All
ready.
right. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And today I want to speak about a simple but powerful truth. Seek, and you shall find. What we choose to look for has an enormous influence on what we notice, how we feel, and ultimately how we experience our lives. I always remember an exercise that Tony Robbins used in his seminars. Imagine if I asked every one of you to look around in the room that you're in and look for everything that you see as brown. I see a brown chair. I see brown shoes. I see a brown desk. I see a brown picture frame. Take a few seconds and really focus on everything you see that's brown. Okay. Then after a couple of moments, Tony Robbins would say, okay, how many things are red? Well, most people struggle with that answer. Not because there aren't red things in the room. They simply weren't looking for them. Their minds had been given a specific instruction: find brown. So brown became visible. Red kind of faded into the background. And that's not just in this simple exercise. This is how we live our lives every single day. Our minds are constantly searching for evidence to support whether we have told them whatever we have told them to look for. When we wake up in the morning and if we say, oh, it's going to be stressful, guess what? Our minds are immediately beginning to search for stress. An email may sound more demanding. A delay may be more frustrating. A small challenge becomes proof. You see, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen. But what if we wake up asking a different question? Where is the opportunity today? Who can I help? What is going wonderful? What am I grateful for? As a matter of fact, this morning, I log on very early and I saw an escalation come over. And I have to tell you that word escalation kind of gives you a feeling of, oh boy, what's going to happen? Well, that wasn't the situation at all. It just needed a family needed a little push along to be able to, get the file into the hands of who it needs to go to next. There was nothing stressful about it. And when I saw that come over, instead of getting kind of on edge of, oh no, what's going wrong? I was kind of like, you know what? I'm happy this came over so early because I was able to handle it and I didn't have to pass it off to another team member. And the joy of me serving that family made me happy. See, the circumstances may not immediately change, but what we notice will change. If we seek frustration, you'll find it. If you seek a reason to complain, guess what? They appear everywhere. If you seek evidence that people don't appreciate you, your mind will collect every missed thank you, every unanswered message, every moment someone failed to acknowledge your effort. But the opposite is also true. When we seek kindness, we see it. When we seek progress in that one little step, you notice how far you've come. When you seek opportunities, there's doors that will suddenly become visible. When we seek the good in people, you will find qualities that judgment may have hidden from you. It means recognizing that there's always more than one thing happening at the same time. There may be pressure, but there's also possibility. There may be something that went wrong, but there's probably many things that are still going right. The question is, what are you training your mind to find? Think about how this shows up in our leadership. When you expect your team to disappoint you, guess what? You notice every mistake and every overlooked improvement. When you believe someone is difficult, every interaction, it validates it. When you decide that an idea will never work, your mind stops searching for the ways to make it work. But when you look for potential, you begin to coach your team differently. When you look for effort, you begin to encourage more often. When you look for those solutions, you stop getting trapped inside the problem. And the same principle applies to our relationships. When you search for everything your spouse, your friend, your child, your family member does wrong, it begins to build a very convincing case. But if you intentionally search for the ways they care, the way they contribute, the way they support, the way they try, every experience begins to shift. Sometimes the love was always there. We had simply trained ourselves to look for the brown and miss the red. And we also do the same for us. How often do we look in the mirror and immediately pick out the things we don't like? How often do we review our week and we focus only on the things maybe we didn't hit? We rarely pause to notice our courage, our growth, our consistency, our resilience, the difficult things that we survived, the people we helped, the progress we made. If you seek evidence that you're not good enough, guess what? Your mind is going to find it. But if you seek evidence that you're learning, you're becoming, you're moving forward, you're going to find that too. Your focus does not just influence what you notice. It influences what you create. When you look for a reason to be grateful, your energy changes. When you look for ways to serve people, you feel your intention. When you look for solutions, you become resourceful. When you look for hope, you keep moving. And that movement creates results. That's why the question we ask ourselves matters so much. Our brains are answer-seeking machines. If you ask, why does nothing ever work out for me? Guess what? Your mind is going to remind you. If you ask, what can I learn from this? Your mind begins searching for wisdom. If you ask, why am I so far behind? Guess what? You're going to show defeat. And if you ask, what is one meaningful step I can take today? You will begin to move. The quality of your questions shape the quality of your focus. So today, I want to challenge you to become intentional about what you are seeking. When you are at work, seek an opportunity to make someone's life better. When you face a challenge, seek the lessons. When you look at your own life, seek the blessings that may have become so familiar that you stop noticing them. Things like your good health, your family, your home, your experiences, your chance to make today matter. We often believe we become grateful once life gives us something to be grateful for. But gratitude begins when we train ourselves to see what we already have. We often believe that we become hopeful once our circumstances improve. But hope begins when we deliberately search for what's still possible. We often believe that confidence will come after success. But confidence grows when we look for evidence that we're capable of taking the next step. Seek and you shall find. The world contains difficulty and beauty, fear and possibility, disappointment and growth, problems and solutions. Which ones become the center of your life often depends on what you repeatedly notice. And your remarkable thought for today is, your mind will find evidence for whatever you ask it to seek. Choose your focus carefully, because what you search for becomes the world that you experience. So today, don't look for what's missing. Look for what's meaningful. Don't look for what went wrong. Look for what you can do next. Do not look for reasons to doubt yourself. Look for every time you've overcome, adapted, learned, and continued. And before you go to bed tonight, ask yourself, what good did I find today? Because I was still willing to look for it. The red was always there, ladies and gentlemen. The blessings are always there. You simply have to decide what you are seeking. Wishing you all a fabulous and remarkable day, and join us tomorrow when Paul will be our guest speaker. Take care, everyone.